Hello there, my name is Kishan Hopkins. I'm an instructional technology specialist from the Oklahoma Public School Resource Center, and I'm also joined here with Kurt Bernhardt, our technology director. And today I'm here to talk about Seesaw Tech Talks. This is part of our series of Tech Talks that we're doing, talking about different technology tools and focusing on one at a time. This particular one has to do with Seesaw, a digital portfolio tool that I have a warm fondness for, absolutely. Um, yeah, if you're interested in what we're talking about over here, you're very welcome to reach out to us. I have our email up here at techteam@opsrc.net. Additionally, if you want access to these slides as well, I got a link to that. So that is T.ly/V40 capital C. That's case sensitive, so make sure you get that capital C in there. So let's jump into what you're going to get out of these next 30 minutes ish. Kind of the schedule of events here. We're going to do a little bit of introduction, which we're in right now. We're going to do a bit of theory, just to give us kind of a foundation on going into introducing technology in your classroom and getting the most value out of it. I'll answer a few questions with that. Then we're going to focus on the tool itself, just answering a few questions on what it is, how to access it, what it can do for you, and a good chunk of this time will be used right then and there, just kind of showcasing the features there, how to get into it, how to get started. So we'll do a bit of that. Then afterwards, I'll transition into showing you just a couple of tool applications, getting you a couple of ideas. During that time, I just really want to have you envision on what is it going to look like to have this tool used in your classroom. What kind of applications can we see here? So try to give you a couple of wide variety of examples here, but just to kind of get you started. And then we'll finish things out with me sharing some goodies. I've done quite a bit of research on each one of these tech talks, on seeing what these tools are capable of, but I know I can't do it all in these 30 minutes, so I try to share a bit of that research with you, so you can extend that learning if you are interested, and then also give you a link to in an evaluation that's quite important to this process. So with that, now that you know what you're getting into, let's jump in. First of all, what are we learning? I gotta have my objective up here. After this training, teachers will be able to integrate Seesaw into their classroom to help students achieve learning goals and acquire 21st century skills. And so doing a little bit of a breakdown of that. But first, before I do that, I just want to do a small, just to give you an idea of what Seesaw looks like. Real quick over here, whenever you do log into Seesaw, it gives you kind of like this activity feed type of deal, and you have students create these projects using a 6-tool creative suite, which I think is kind of like the core of Seesaw. And whenever students create something, they can post it up on this feed, and it's kind of like a classroom feed. You get to see all the work that students are doing, and teachers are able to create activities so they can respond to prompts using that 6-tool creative suite, which I'll show off a little bit. And just to give you an idea of what tools are out there, you can take photos, you can draw on top of the on photos, you can record videos, you can upload files. There's lots of different tools we can jump into on that, but I'm going to save a bit of that once we get through a little bit of theory here. So I'm going to sign out real quick so you can see what this looks like a bit later. But let me jump into just kind of breaking down this objective that I have here. Because some things that I want us to think about as we're introducing into our technology, we're spending up resources to try to get value. We want to try to maximize that learning. We want to transform what's going on to your classroom. But two things that I do want to highlight here is why on earth are we bothering to spend that time on learning this new tool and teaching others these tools? We don't want to do it just for the novelty of it, just because like something has a bunch of fancy features in it. We want to keep in mind what's important, and that's what are the students learning here. This can be answered in a bunch of different ways, but just one way that you can think about it is it needs, if you're going to introduce technology into your classroom, it needs to support the learning goals that you're doing in there. On top of that, another way that I like to think about it is a way that the National Education Association tries to answer that is, are you supporting these 21st century skills that are here? And so If you're unfamiliar with the four C's under the NEA would be communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. So these are four things that are useful not only in the classroom, but in other classrooms, inside of all of school, outside of school, in their careers. So these are things that are going to be useful to the student. And whenever I'm looking for technology tools or when I'm trying to give recommendations, I always try to think, does this tool, can it provide opportunities for students to gain these particular skills or practice these? So try to keep these in mind as we're working through the tool. Try to see in spots where it provides way for parents or students to communicate with teachers and try to get everybody connected, or any one of these other skills here. Another thing to kind of ask yourself is, if you are going to introduce technology, what is a good way of doing it? How do you do this? And there's lots of ways to answer that question as well. But one way that I do want to recommend to you is the SAMR model. I think it's a really easy model. I think it's a good way to kind of like get yourself started and have kind of a clear idea on how to get value out of these tools here. And so the SAMR model, very simply, is kind of a sort of test on figuring out the levels of technology integration. In this case, in this model, we have four levels here. We have substitution. Your technology is acting as a direct substitute to something that you're already doing. We can use technology to augment an activity or modify an activity in a certain way, or completely redefine an activity, which means it creates something that wouldn't be possible without this technology tool. And so this is just kind of a good model to keep in mind. I'm going to use this a little bit later once you have just a few ideas on how this technology tool works here. So I'm going to refer back to this. All right. So what you have come here for is for us to talk about Seesaw, and so I'm going to do that just now. The first question I want to answer is, what is it? In short, it's a digital portfolio platform. It's a way for students to create their projects on here and post it inside of kind of their journals there. And so the students have their own space, but on top of that, you also have a classroom space as well, where students can see their other work. Now, what it can do for your classroom, just to highlight a few features, like I said before, I think kind of a crowning jewel of Seesaw would be the six-part creative tool suite. There's lots of different approaches for your students to submit work inside of Seesaw. On top of that, there's a Google Classroom integration, plays really nice with it. Between each other, in fact. So it's not just a one-way street here. You can have Google Classroom import its roster into Seesaw when you're setting it up, so it makes that process easier. And for Seesaw, you can take anything that you create in there and push it out into Google Classroom, so it's pretty nice for that. On top of that, it has a parent portal, so helping out with that communication piece there. It gives, what you can essentially do is take parents or guardians, attach them to students, so whenever students submit work, the parents will get notified and they have their own feed specific to their child or children. In here, they also have a community library. There's tons of resources that teachers are creating daily, and so you have access to that for free. There's an online blog as well. I think this is a good way to take student work and submit it out there for other people to see, for a community to see. And it's just a great way to just celebrate student work and give them ownership and pride of what they're creating. And of course, there's a mobile app that works quite well as well. But if you're using Chromebooks, I think this is an excellent tool for that, because all of these tools work under that as well. All right. And then finally, how do you access it? It's got a very simple address here, seesaw.me. So I'm going to click on that so we can jump on into the showcase portion of this. All right. Okay. So when we get started, we're on the main page here at seesaw.me. On the top right-hand corner, if you're getting started, you can sign up for free, or if you already have like a Google account, you can sign in through that as well. But I'm going to click on login here on the top right hand corner. I'm going to click on that. And I am going to click I am a teacher on here so you can see kind of the classroom features on here. But just a quick sidebar over here to where I am a student. There are tons of ways that students can log into Seesaw. And I think it kind of just depends on the age group and what kinds of things you want students to be responsible with. If they already use Google account, great, they can sign in with that. You can also give them have them create their own Seesaw accounts here as well. If your school uses Clever, they have access to that as well. Additionally, if you want to use remote learning codes, you can have students type in a code that's specific to them and they can log in using that. Or if you want to send them out a QR code, there's also that option as well. So tons of ways to log in just to make it as easy as possible for students to get into their accounts and start creating. But I'm going to get into teacher. I'm going to sign in with Google here. And I'm going to show you just a few things out of Seesaw. So this is the home page that I showed just a little bit before, just to show you what's going on here. And like I said before, on this home page, I'm at the journal for the whole classroom. So I'm seeing all of the students' work. I can scroll through this activity feed and see the different assignments that students have turned in. I can see the name of the student, I can see if it's an activity they're responding to, and I can see their results as well, and I can click on that to view more work. And it's kind of a responsive journal. I can click this option and I can like, post, I can comment, quickly give feedback to students. I can organize this inside of a folder, or I could send it to the classroom blog. So there's lots of options just right here on this front page. Now on the right hand side are kind of the different areas of Seesaw. Of course we have the journal, the class journal here, but if I just want to see just a certain student's work, I can click on their names and it shows you a bit of that. This next tab over here is activities. So you can think of activities as sort of prompts for the students to reply to, and whenever they try to reply to it, they do it in the form of those creative tools that I'll jump into in a bit. So those are kind of the main two tabs here. There's more features on that, but I'm going to save that for another time. What I really want to get into is up here, top right hand corner. If I click on plus add here, your main options are post students work. So for students, this is how they get started on any assignment. You can assign activities, which is a good way to get into your library or the library of the community library there, or you can send out an announcement. So one big thing about Seesaw is being able to communicate not only with students, but also parents as well. So I'm going to click on post student work so you can see those creative tools in action. So we got 6 tools here. We got photo tool, drawing tool, video, upload, note, and link. And I think the drawing tool is a good way to kind of showcase all of these other tools kind of mixed into one. This is kind of a sandbox section here. So I'm going to click on the drawing tool. And here is the interface for people to start creating here. So at the bottom of the screen here, I have some different drawing tools. You know, you got your pencil here, you got your pen here, you got your marker or highlighters here as well. We even got this nice little magic marker situation and the eraser. Something to notice is on the right hand side, you have tons of colors to swap between. So you can always change the color of the pen that you're working on. Just make it a little bit more creative there. On the left hand side, over here is different bits of multimedia that you can put inside, make this a little bit more creative here. Starting from the top, working my way down, I have the text tool. So it's really easy to use. You just click on it. You get a little box there, and you can start typing in there. So pretty nice. It's not robust in terms of like normal rich text editing, but at the very least, I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller, I can rotate it around. It's really easy to use, and I can even change the colors if I'd like using that tool on the right hand side. So pretty nice, even though it's not as robust. Down over here, the second tool would be recording. So in this case, I can record a voiceover over this, and that way it makes it just a little bit more interactive. And so once I'm done recording, I'm going to click on Done on the top right-hand corner. And now I have a little clip. Oh, it took a picture. That's great. A little clip that I can click on and play. And it has this little window. I'm going to delete this so it gets out of the way, but I think you get the idea. It's pretty nice to be able to record some narration here. I think this is good if you have your students doing some work, but also you want them to explain their process here. I think it's a good reflective tool as well. All right, this next one over here is the picture tool. I think this is great tool to use if you're having students like work on iPads or something that has camera capabilities at the ready. You could take a photo, you could take a video on here. I'm going to turn my camera off for the moment here for this little bit. And just take a nice little photo of me. So here I am taking a picture. There we are. And now I'm part of the process. This is a good way to get students to take a piece of their world, a piece of their experience, and connect it to what they're doing into the classroom. So I think that's pretty nice. But don't forget, you can also have them upload photos as well if they already have something at the ready. And then lastly, down over here, you have these three dots. These are extra options, but it's just a good way to insert a bit more into these. We have your shape tool, very easy to just click on. And you can, now you have a little icon you can click and drag and move around. You can change the background, which you can do like solid colors. Change it to a bunch of different colors here, but I like the options. If you scroll down a little bit more, down over here at the bottom, you have these straight little lines to make it look like a piece of paper. You have graph paper, which I absolutely enjoy for math activities here. You have writing assignments. We have these little dots here. We have these lines for music. So there's lots of little options there that I think is worth exploring under the background section. All right, cool. One thing that I know I forgot to mention is like if you do want a little bit more options, like for this text over here, you can click on the text box, click on these three dots here, and there's a few more options. Like you can add links on your text, you can add a little bit of voiceover here, you can change the style, like the text style on here, you can make it bigger or smaller and align it in different ways, or you can delete it. So just a couple of options there. All right, lots of groovy little features here, but I want to bring everybody's attention to the top of the screen now. Don't forget, nice little redo button, undo button. You can click these and go through those changes just in case you got to take a step back. You can also magnify or zoom out, zoom in. You got a few of those, or full screen this if you'd like. But once you're done, top right hand corner, if you click on this little check mark symbol, it will save this. Now, as a teacher right now, I'm posting students' work. So it's asking me like, what student do I want to post this under? I'm going to do it as the sample student. Additionally, if you have these set up, you can set up folders to when you create something, you can slip it into a folder. It makes organization so much easier, especially if you have like a certain project or an assignment that this belongs to. Right now I'm going to leave this alone and click on the check symbol. That way it will upload. And now here's my lovely, beautiful creation here up on the classroom journal. Very cool. Now, if you're not crazy about this format, you don't want to scroll through all the time, maybe you're looking for something on a specific date, you can swap the journal view for a calendar view by clicking on that button, and it will show you how many items are submitted on certain days. So it's a nice little kind of bird's eye view of what's happening in your classroom. Now, it doesn't give you a whole lot of details until you click on it, but it is a good, just an alternative way of looking at students' work. All right. Next thing I just want to briefly mention up here, if I click on the top right-hand corner where it says plus add and click on assign activity, these are prompts that students have access to that you can push down into your classroom. And so if I select any one of these, it's, oh, not that one. There we go. It's basically instructions that you give your students on ways that you expect them to react to an activity. And it's really nice when you assign these activities, you can build things into it like You got your text instructions, but also you can have audio instructions as well if you have students where you need them to read it to. You can set up templates, so when students interact with the activity, they already have something to start with and they just build off of that, so it's quite nice. Or if you're like, well, I don't want to create all that stuff, let me see what other resources are out there. You could go to the tab on the top left-hand corner, click on Community, and there are tons of activities over here. They've had some highlighted ones up here that are very nice, but also if you if you go to the top left-hand corner where these drop-down boxes are, you can filter it depending on grade here. We got a bunch of grades going on here, and you can filter it down to subjects. And these aren't just the core subjects. We got art, we got drama, we got geography, we got home learning, we got music, physical education, socio-emotional learning. There's quite a bit of different activities out here that I think would be quite useful. And if you see something that you like we click on one of these options here, and you like what you see over here, you can click on Assign, and then select your class, and then click Assign to Class, and it's that easy to send it out to students. So it's pretty easy to send some of that stuff out. All right. So if you ever do want to get started with Seesaw, whenever you log in for the first time, it'll have you create your class. You can import your students in there, or you can add students down here by clicking on plus students. And once students are added into your classroom, you can also attach families to those students as well down here on the bottom right hand corner. So that's how you add people to those classrooms. Okay, so I just wanted to give you an idea of what Seesaw is all about. Let's talk about some applications here. Just give you a few ideas of what this might look like inside of your classroom. I'm going to do this under the umbrella of the SAMR model. So, like for example, if you want to use Seesaw as kind of like substituting a function in your classroom, you can have students type what they learned today using the notes feature. So this is a way that they can type things out. They can do voice narration. They can record your voice while they're working. So it's a pretty nice feature in there that I think is worth exploring. I'm throwing a little bit of a bonus in there because it's one of the main functions of Seesaw, but teachers can also send announcements as a replacement for a newsletter to parents. Save a little bit of paper there. So pretty good feature there. Next is a augmentation style activity. So this is kind of like good for like the math subject. You can have students graph a line, then record their explanation for their steps that they took to graph the line. So I think this is a great way for students to not only show their work and show it to you physically, but also have them walk you through all of those steps that they took to just make sure that they're really grasping what you want them to grasp there. So I think that's just a really great way for you to take advantage of those audio features that are part of that Creative Tool Suite. Next is a modification style activity. I'm throwing this to the social studies section. So this would be like if students add photos and text on top of like a comic book template. So you add like a way to break that open white space into a bunch of little spaces and have students add features inside of there using photos and text. And then they just do an example of what a historical figure would think if they were around today. So maybe have them interact with technology or have them think about something that they started and see where that went later. And so I think that's kind of a nice activity for that. And then finally, kind of a redefinition activity. I think this is a good place. An example that I have here is kind of for an English class. So you maybe have students redesign a title cover for their favorite book. So they can use pictures to help illustrate. They can do like a video explanation on why their book is meaningful to them. And once they've kind of put together that project, they can share their responses out on the classroom blog. And the blogs for the classroom, you get to kind of control what is going to be sent out there. That way you can make sure that it's still private for the students and nothing is shared that shouldn't be shared. And so since it's out there, each blog has its own unique address, and maybe you can use that and embed it on the school website and show off students' work to support a reading initiative. So this is a way that you can connect what the students are doing inside of the classroom in kind of a broader context there. That way you can have them reach out to that community and show people this is what we're doing in school, this is what we're trying to support, this is what our students are creating, and you can take those opportunities to celebrate student work. So that's kind of like a good redefinition activity, just taking advantage of that technology and creating something that wasn't available before. Okay. At this time, I would love to thank everybody for sticking with me this long. I really do appreciate it. I hope you've learned something that you haven't learned before, or at least get the wheels turning. We're going to finish out over here in a moment. Just let me take a quick swig of water. All right. So lastly, I just want to share a few things with you, a couple of resources to kind of get things moving beyond this, because I don't want this to be the only time that you're exposed to Seesaw. Hopefully, I've generated at least a little bit of excitement on what this could do for your classroom. And so to expand on that, I'm sharing a few of the goodies. I've highlighted a few resources that I think are going to be really useful if you want to extend your knowledge in terms of what Seesaw can do for you. I've only showed you kind of the core of what's out there, but there's so many more features out there. So just to shout out, I think Seesaw has done a really excellent job on putting out those resources. So the very first thing that I put out there is how to set up a Seesaw classroom and do it remotely and making sure that works well. Additionally, on top of that, we actually have a Intro to Seesaw Classroom course that's available through our LMS, and I've collected all the videos that I've used for that course and put it in a training playlist, so that's what's right over there in that last link. But I also think the course is worth going through as well, because I just try to make sure that you're learning whatever you need to learn out of that and give you some practice with all of the different things that I try to teach in that class, and so I think that's quite nice, and I think that's worth exploring. On top of that, I put out some resources for SAM Remodel. If this is the first you've heard of it, or if you want to expand your knowledge on that, I've shared a couple of links that lead you to examples on how that's being used. So I think this is really great if you already have technology that you're using in your course, and you really just want to wrestle with figuring out, am I using this technology in a way that's going to transform what's happening in my classroom? Can I take this to the next step? What would that look like? And it does this with a bunch of different tools, so I think this is worth exploring. And then finally, my last slide over here. I just once again want to thank everybody for joining me here, just spending the time exposing yourself to technology, to doing technology integration, and doing this with Seesaw. I'm hoping that this will help generate some ideas, and hopefully you'll connect to the other opportunities that we have here. So let me just point a few things out here. All right. Okay, so the first link up here is our evaluation. This is also case sensitive, very much like the slides that I shared before. So that's T.ly/GGZ K. So that's case sensitive there. It's very short. Evaluation here, just a couple of questions. You click a couple of buttons, you answer a few questions here, and then boom, submit. And it will be all done. Please, if you enjoyed what we do here, just take the minute or so it takes to do these evaluations. They're important to us because it helps us build this into something even better, but it will help out our OPSRC community by helping us provide an even better service here for you. Just in case you've forgotten, that's fine. I'm Kashawn Hopkins. I'm joined here with Kurt Bernhardt. We're the technology team together, and very happy to provide just these opportunities for you. If you want to keep talking with us, just keeping the conversation going, that's absolutely wonderful. We want that. We want to reach out to you. So our email is at techteam@opsrc.net. Got a link to the slides over here just in case you want to reach back into those goodies. And then finally, what I want to throw out to you is a link to our other Tech Talks. We have some really great stuff coming up in this next month. I'm just going to go to this. So the link itself is at opsrc.net/Tech Talks. That's Tech Talks plural there. Sometimes I forget that. And we have a whole page dedicated to our upcoming presentations. Right now we're at the Seesaw one, but we got some really cool stuff coming up, especially at this Future Link one. I think this is very nice. Adobe Spark, Flipgrid, YouTube, we got some really cool stuff. But also on top of that, if you're coming at this late, that is cool. We're archiving our presentations. So we have the video and the presentation slides for all of the tech talks that we've done before. And I think that stuff is awesome. Ooh, and it's probably worth mentioning, if you see something on here and you're like, I really feel passionate about these tools, I want to hear more and I want to share more about this, we also have a little survey that you can fill out for suggestions on other ed tech tools, and we'll take a look if we get an opportunity. All right. One last time, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.